Hey, welcome back to the Anime Podcast. I'm joined, as always, with John and Sai. And today we're going to be talking about the winter 2024 anime lineup. I believe we watched every single new series. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we got
First
30
episode.
on the list, and we watched them all. And we're going to be talking about all of them briefly. But we will be talking about them.
Got a lot to get through this episode.
Yeah.
In full detail listing credits to every director, PA, voice actor, stage assistant,
Yep.
doorman
Yeah.
for every series.
DoorDash driver.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
It'd all be mentioned. But I guess, like, before we jump into it, how did you guys feel for watching? This is our second attempt of,
Full
watching
sweep.
the whole full sweep of the season. Not miss. I don't think we missed any in this one this time. I know we missed like 2, I think, last time. But
Some aren't streaming.
But
Yeah.
like 99% of this season, only new episodes, only new shows. If you had to sum it up in one word, what would you say this season was?
Underwhelming.
That's
Not
2
in
words.
one. Not in,
No.
I won't say. I won't say.
Is one word.
Is
Is
it
Yeah.
under?
It's a conjunction.
Well, there you
Is it?
go. Look, I say
I don't know.
this has been easier than last season.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
Well,
Easier to go through.
I'll say pleasant.
I would say
I was pleasantly surprised.
I had less cringy moments with this season.
Mm.
There were some, but I'm gonna say there was less overall.
They
I mean,
felt
I think
Yeah.
last season there were more titles that I was into,
Mhm.
and this season just felt like a lot of isekai and romance to me. There
Yeah.
was some other genres sprinkled in there.
that
But
was definitely the overarching, especially the isekai. There were some series too that I was like, okay, so it's not an isekai, and then 30
it
seconds
is
later,
isekai.
it was an isekai. But I think I definitely agree with that. I felt like there was way more like really exciting anime last season that like really caught my attention and really stood out. This one, I think was kind of mellow, and there wasn't necessarily, because last season there were some that were just bad. But this one I felt like everyone was kind of more or less the same level.
No, I disagree.
It had the same tone for me because there were so many that had like the same kind of themes going on.
I get what John's saying too.
Oh.
I feel like we're a little more biased because we like a lot of these genres. Chris, you hate them completely. So
I wouldn't say
I
completely.
think I would say like you got like 1%
Listen,
enjoying.
I'll say from the time we got that one comment from me saying my controversial sentence about not watching anime for slice of life or isekai, I evolved from that because I am now appreciating,
You're saying,
romance a little bit more, slice of life, isekai I can
Slowly
tolerate.
getting Chris to watch more romance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the whole
Well,
plan, actually, of the podcast.
We'll see with
It's a good Chris to watch
what each of our picks are. Their 2 picks for the season are.
I too.
Yeah. But I will say the animation wise, it felt very late 90s, early 2000s stylizing for a lot of these.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Compared to last season,
Definitely.
which felt very like ethereal and like light colored and everything. But well,
Which one do we want to start with?
we're
Should
not
we go from top
From
list
the
down?
bottom? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Well, should we do that, or should we just go like briefly into what were the ones we absolutely didn't like, or the ones that we absolutely did, or should we just run the gamut?
Your idea, because if we
Yeah.
talk about the ones we absolutely didn't like, we could just move on. Get those
Yeah,
out
get
and
'em.
then go.
The document.
I will kick it off. I have one that's the absolute worst.
Oh no.
Ready?
All right. Yeah.
God.
I'm starting with the worst of the worst, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Delusional Monthly Magazine.
Okay.
Gushing Over Magical Girls. My instant death ability is so overpowered. Fluffy Paradise.
You didn't
The
like
strongest.
the fluff? Damn.
No, I did not enjoy the fluff. The strongest tanks labyrinth raids.
Okay. I will say that right there was also my worst. That was the worst one in my opinion. I couldn't watch it.
It was pretty
generic, so bland.
Yeah. The foolish angel dances with the devil, and I think there's I got two more. Dr. Elise, the royal lady with the lamp.
Mm-hmm.
And Meji Gecken 1874.
All right. Wow. I think, this is the first time I think I'm like 90% in what's the word? Coordination with Chris. Yeah. Agreeance with you.
There's a couple I would add though that I didn't like.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see.
Yeah, let's get them all out there and we can nitpick.
So Cherry Magic 30 years of rigidity can make you a wizard. I just feel like with having the power that they had and like with the story, they could have just did the story perfectly without him having some magical ability to touch somebody and hear their thoughts.
Get them all out there. Let's
that was the only one that I was really think.
You said a couple.
Also, the other one that I didn't like really was because you already mentioned them. The torture princess one.
You didn't like that one?
I just thought it was just like, what is the point of this? I don't know what's like. What is the story going? I don't understand. Like, they're just
like a full story. It's kind of like the equivalent of the Sunday paper and the weekly comic strip. That's how it felt to me. Where
it was very like it had funny moments and stuff. Like, oh yeah, it was funny.
The food looked great in it, but
tell me about the story of what's happening. And I'm like, I have no idea what the plot of this is.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, I understand the pain they're going through.
Right.
I think really the only other one that I didn't like that Chris, you didn't already mention was, I'm just pulling up the list here again. And these aren't necessarily ones that I hated, but I just found them way too boring, which was, what was her name? The Monarchy House, I think it was.
Oh, the I just saw it.
Yeah, girl goes back to the house and there's the
that are living the Demon Prince of Momochi House.
Yeah,
it felt like a very bland ripoff of Fruit Basket and didn't really give anything that was worth hanging on to. And the only other one was Sangoku Yoko. Sangoku Yoko. Yeah, that was just boring to me. And those were like the only ones aside from the ones Chris said. I feel like Chris really liked one of those with the face you're making.
Yeah,
I enjoyed Sangoku Yoko.
It was just too boring for me. Like, I just wasn't, and I didn't feel captured by any of the characters. The story just seemed very kind of bland, but
development needed. I feel like, especially with the main characters.
Well,
I thought the animation was decent. I thought the characters were interesting, but they could be one-dimensional.
Yeah,
like that might be why you didn't like them that much.
Oh, wait. There's one more that I forgot. That now I'm thinking about one-dimensional characters. Where is it? I don't want to get this one. Oh. Honestly, this one is the worst one in my opinion. And apologies if it's on somebody's list. I'll watch it. But Sasaki and Peeps.
Oh, Sasaki and Peeps.
Yeah.
Look, I thought it was cute with the bird and stuff, but then now that they're going into this other dimension and this new job, I'm just like, what is hell's happening?
40 minutes. 40 minutes for no real story. Sasaki and Peeps. It couldn't make up what it wanted to be. Exactly. The whole thing about like, okay, this is going to be an isekai like the one we saw last year where he could go back and forth between his world and the other world at will. But then it was like, okay, now he's making money on the side there, which I had such a hard time trying to wrap my brain about how is he converting the money he's getting there into the money in his world, because he's getting paid in gold.
No, he only used that there. So that's why he was saying he primarily eats there. And he was saying, I think I want to sleep there because my bed's way bigger at the other place. And he has the restaurant and everything. But then that's why he got the new job. And
I swore there was a point where he was saying that, well, he wasn't even trying to get that job with the whole, which is the other plot point issue. Then psychics all of a sudden, like, I did not understand what was going on with that. And that to me was the most boring, annoying anime to watch this whole season.
Glad you guys said that.
Yeah.
I remember because that was the first one I chose to watch. And I turned it on. It said 48 minutes, and I messaged both of you, and I went, this episode is 48 minutes, and then I was like, I'm not watching this right now. I went to the next one.
I did the same thing. I turned it on, and then I turned it off. It was just too long.
I remember you saying that. I just didn't know which one it was for, and it was the first one on the list, so I watched it also. But literally at the 25-minute mark, I was like, this doesn't seem to be wrapping up. I don't hear any outro music or anything. Like, what's going on? And I shook the cursor, and I was like, there's another 20 minutes left in this? And then literally 5 minutes later, it was like, now there's psychics. And I'm like, what is going on? I felt like this would have been... just should have been like a original movie and been done with it, because there was just too much.
It probably would have
been a whole season,
a whole movie.
Yeah,
but
because
I think they were just trying to pull an Oshinoko, you know?
No.
Yeah, but drop the ball hard. Oshinoko, like when we were watching, where did we watch that? We were at Gamer 7.
Gamer 7, yeah.
I remember we turned it on. None of us knew how long it was going to be. We started watching it, and I'm like, wow, this is much longer. And we paused, but we were all just sucked into it. And I was like, no, let's keep watching it. Like, this is great.
Yeah,
we kept watching it.
But yeah, it was just like, I have no idea how the rest of that season's going to play out, because it's like, clearly it's no longer about the isekai. The isekai was just to set up him getting magical powers, and now it's going to be about what I'm assuming is this whole thing with the psychics. But for as far as I know, they're just going to keep playing back and forth, and nothing's going to get done.
Right.
But thank God we're not going to watch that.
But, it could be really good, with the later episodes that come out.
There's a chance. There's a chance.
Yeah, if it is good, leave a comment, tell us we're wrong, and we'll watch it.
No, but
I don't think we're going to bet on it, though.
Oh, no.
But yeah, I'm surprised all of us pretty much had more or less the same like distaste for a lot of this season in similarity. But yeah,
right.
I was surprised, Chris. I was surprised you were gonna like dislike Meji Gekken 1874.
I said the same exact thing.
I was watching it and I was like,
this is Chris.
Exactly. I was like, this is 100% a Chris anime. It's swords. There's swords. There's like all this political drama going on. It's like, oh man, I can't.
Let me stop you right there.
Because they weren't ninjas, they were samurai.
Remember the Tea Room? The Tea that anime?
Yeah, Tea Room
Empire. That was a historical piece. And when we watched that, I told you guys I don't like historical pieces.
Oh, you like Vinland Saga?
That's different.
Well,
what do you mean?
I shouldn't say historical. I shouldn't say historical ones, but you know what I mean. Like they're like old time like ones, because you like what's that one you're reading? Vagabond. It's like you like that old style samurai one, and that's what this is. And it has magic too. I was like swords,
just a
magic.
Bit,
yeah.
Okay, so let me just say, like I did write in my notes for that one. It has clean animation, an interesting historical piece, but it's not for me because I was bored watching it. Like it didn't pull me in. And I'm not saying it's bad. It's just I'm not a huge fan of historical pieces. Like I had a hard time picking up Vinland Saga because it was about Vikings, and I don't really like Vikings all that much. But
you have every
here I am
behind you.
Like, yeah. So
actually, aren't you the reason why I watched it?
Yeah.
Like, oh no, you should. Yeah, and then I was like, wow, this is really good.
So I'm definitely a pick and choose kind of guy with historical pieces.
Yeah, I will say though, I was a little. Me and Cy were on the same thing. We were like, oh, Chris is gonna like this one, but I'm quite shocked, but that makes sense. It was boring. It was really boring.
I think we did a good job this season too, because no matter how much we watched, I feel like we held off until like the last couple days to just even mention anything to each other about what we watched, like because we wanted to save it. But there were some things, man, that I just couldn't handle. I was like, no.
It was like a bursting and like, oh, gotta get it out there.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Well, so should we just start with the one at the top of the list and then just work our way down?
I think that's good.
Yes. I mean, any other things you want to? Anything else that like stood out about any of the other ones you disliked? I know we said a lot.
I think when we get to them, we could then continue talking about it. But I think we should just jump in.
We're gonna move past them. We're not gonna go back and talk about each one of them, right?
We'll talk about the ones we like.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but when we get to it on the list, if there's anything else worth saying, I feel like we could say.
Oh, we're gonna go down. We're gonna go down the list.
Now, yeah, why not?
Even if there's nothing to say, we can say, "Hey, this is one of the ones we disliked," and then if we want to move on, we can.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll let you guys.
Just so we know.
I'm gonna be a backseat person.
A backseat driver.
Oh, Chris, the first one on the list.
Yeah. I don't have much to say about this. Okay. I do, but I won't say a lot. So, the first one on our watch list is Gushing Over Magical Girls, and I'll just say. For all of these shows, I did not read a single description.
Same.
So I had no idea what I was getting into. I started playing it, and I knew right away that it wasn't for me.
We were watching it in the living room.
I'm not the target audience here for Gushing Over Magical Girls. I don't have the synopsis.
I can tell you what essentially it is. It's go
ahead.
It's a magical girl, a pretty girl anime, but the twist is that a girl who's been obsessed with the magical girls and like wishing she could be one finally gets her wish within the first like 10 seconds of the anime. But she's tricked into becoming an evil magical girl and has to pretty much fight the magical girl he likes so much, which takes a even more masochistic turn and
sadist turn.
Yes,
they say that in there.
So I didn't finish this show. I only watched 12 minutes, and at the 12-minute marker is when I
watched it in
borderline. Excuse me?
Oh, because it's high dive, so you can watch it faster. That's why.
Yeah, so I put it in speed 4 because it was one of the last ones I watched today.
I thought you said you watched it 4 times.
It's John's number one for watching it.
It is. Yeah, we're gonna watch every single one, Chris.
So essentially, it's eki. Is that what it's called?
Eki?
Like what do you mean? Eki, it's not hentai, but it's basically hentai.
I don't know. I've never.
It's a whole
word leading into it.
Okay, how do you spell
I'm
that?
not sure what it's called.
It's ECCHI.
It's in John's search history.
You mean Ichi? Ichi.
Yes,
that's Ichi, bro. That's not Ekai. Eki? What happened?
I don't know any of this.
Someone say Ekai.
First of all, I'm saying
this word they've said this word in anime so many times. It's Ichi.
Ichi is one.
This is definitely Ichi.
Let us know in the comments.
I've never heard anyone say the word.
Right. You're probably right. But moving on. It's like I said, it's not for me. I'm not the target audience. I felt really weird watching it. Also, considering I looked up the main character and she's 14, so this is
like borderline fan service hentai.
Teenagers. I couldn't do it. I couldn't finish it. It's doing really well in the community. It got a 7.6 rating on my anime list. So I don't know. They're doing something right, but it's not why I wanted.
They got a fan base.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's sitting at about 14 right now on my anime list for this season.
Yeah.
And
apparently, I
That's
was
why
reading-
it's one of my favorite of the season that we're going to be watching from start to finish, Chris.
I was reading that it's like it's resurging. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's basically
it's breathing new life into the magical girl genre.
Yeah, and I feel like that's why it's doing well. But
well, it is. I think it's capturing people in a way that what was the one from last season with the girl superhero
Fear or what? Shy.
Hero
Shy. That's what it was.
That went too far past the mark, that it lost too many people, and that's why it had a really low rating, because it was like more of a, we'll go past just it being a magical girl and just being a full-on superhero. And this one is like, we're going to do it, but we're going to do it from somebody else's perspective. And I think that's what's really, aside from the obvious fan service that it's giving the viewership. But
sure. Sai, anything you want to add?
It was very cringy for me to watch.
Enough said. Let's move on. All right. The second one on the list, we got Ishura, which is a Hulu original.
No.
This was done by Passion Studios. They did High School DxD. That's the only one that's notable.
And they did?
Yeah.
Damn.
Got a 6.69 rating on my anime list. Do you want to do the synopsis? I don't have any synopses in my notes, so
I'll do it. That was literally the second to last one I watched. Pretty much, I don't know the main characters' names, but imagine kind of Drifters, which I've never watched Drifters, but pretty much takes place in a different world. That's kind of like the Middle East setting, but has these two, I would say, European, British style like characters studying in a school. This loner girl makes friends with this popular girl who wants to learn a certain type of magic. There's some demon lord who has a mechanical army that was defeated, but there's still remnants going around. But flash forward to the end of the day, which it seems like the city erupts into an uprising of all the robots. Out of nowhere. Then it's not explained, doesn't know how it happens, but it ends up killing everyone in the city. And this is like a massive city. It's killing everybody. It killed her friend brutally. This was like a brutal series. I will say surprisingly, a lot of anime this season was very brutal. Like,
there was a lot of blood.
Even the ones that I did not expect had somewhat pretty bloody scenes and like pretty gorish like tones. But yeah, her friend gets brutally murdered, arm, leg ripped off, and then pummeled into just a mound of flesh by this robot.
The robot steps on them right after.
It was crazy.
Chasing the other girl.
But I was more like, it was just pummeling her for like a good 10 seconds. I was like, what's going on? She escapes the city, gets to the outline, the border, which pissed me off because I was like, oh, you're just going to start using magic now? Manages to take out one of the robots, literally has a existential crisis and is like, why didn't I try and use the magic to save my friend? Which I was like, I agree. Why didn't you? But after she's surrounded by all sides by more of the robots, her magic's no use. And then all of a sudden we're introduced to the Visitor, which I thought was a pretty cool naming scheme. I was like, all right, I can get behind this. The Visitor, who is essentially looks like a high school kid from what would be our world, who is trained in swordsmanship to the point where he's literally like slicing with such speed that it's causing like sonic booms and everything, and pretty much takes out this giant mech that's been literally destroying the city and even shooting like a hyper beam down at it and destroys it with ease. I was surprised when you said it was done by Mappa Studio.
No,
Was
not
it?
this one. Not this one.
Not
Yeah.
Passion Studio.
Passion Studio, yeah. But the fight scene's really good, really clean.
Yeah.
It definitely captured my attention a lot. But it ends with her thinking that he's the one, which we're not really sure. Again, we don't know why the robots woke back up while they're destroying everything, why they killed everyone. But she thinks that because he's so obsessed with like fighting and taking out these this demon army, Lord's army with ease, that he was the one who woke them all up, and it was his fault that everybody died.
Right.
And so this ends with it turning into a revenge story of her going with him on an adventure to lead him against what essentially is, I think it's like 6 of her world's top like fighters and magicians and other visitors who have come to this world to hope in hopes that it'll kill him for retribution.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gnarly.
You said it best. That's pretty much the whole first episode.
Very good recap.
Yeah. I mean,
That was very
for
detailed.
this one, you know, I definitely thought the animation was decent. The fights were fluid, but it's nothing special. The story was
Really?
I agree with Chris on this one.
A huge fan,
No?
but it's definitely better
Okay.
than some of the other ones on the list.
I think it's better, like, because it's technically an isekai, but it's from the point of somebody who's like dealing with somebody from an
The
isekai.
new world. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Which
Good perspective.
I'm interested in, yeah. But I thought it was
I
cool,
mean-
and I really like the fight scenes in it.
Yeah, I'd say it got a fair rating on my anime
Mhm.
list, 6.69. That's probably what I would give it.
It felt very Hell's Paradise to me.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
It's one of my honorable mentions, so
Okay.
it's not a bad one, but it's not
It-
my favorite.
It's not one that stuck out to me, kind of like Chris said. I really only enjoyed the fight scenes, the actual animation style of it, but the story just wasn't.
I think I gave
doesn't count to me.
it like a 7.5 when I was like watching these. I was like at the end saying it. I think I gave it 7.5. I was surprised that this got such a low one, because this, like, I feel like this would be like, it hits like all the generic like sweet points for a bunch of like anime watchers, that it would be much higher and giving
the
very
reason
like,
why it didn't get
Mhm.
the high score is because there was zero fan service.
that's true. But
And if you look
but,
at all
yeah.
the other scores on my
Yeah,
anime list,
Yeah.
they're higher, and a lot of
Mhm.
those shows have fan service, and that's the
Yeah.
only kind of solution or answer.
I
that
get
have.
it.
Is it a connection? Is it a connection?
Community's horny.
if we're talking about this, and this might be jumping ahead a little bit, but looking right next to it, which had fan service, which was Tales of the Wedding Rings, and that one's not higher up. And I feel
Very
like there's
One part. It had one part. That's it. One part. It wasn't like dripped in through each episode.
Scenes
One-
with fan service, but
I
it
guess.
got the same rating,
But-
which is interesting.
I don't know. For the season, I really thought that this was going to be like one of the bigger ones. Thought this was going to be in like the top 5 based on people's ratings, but damn, people are being pretty harsh, or maybe just wanting something easier to watch this season. But all right,
Maybe
I have nothing else to say. I liked it. I'm probably
I
gonna
liked
watch
it too,
all the way
but
through.
it's not in my top 5.
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't dislike it,
All right.
if that makes sense.
Next
right.
one up, Chris.
Next on the list is Chained Soldier on High Dive. It is by 7 Arc Studios. They did Blue Period and many more that I just don't know. It got a 7.05 rating. And for this one as well, I'm not the target audience. John, if you will, do the synopsis.
I guess so. I remember reading this one a couple
you read
years
this
ago.
one?
Yeah, it came out a
Okay.
couple years ago. I was surprised that
That's all.
I'm surprised that it got like picked up It's been a minute, but pretty much it's, if you've ever watched Twin Star Exorcist or Blue Exorcist, it's that kind of world building where it's the human world and the demon world, and there's points where they kind of bleed through together. So there are government agencies in place to prevent these things when these kind of slips occur. And I forget what they're called.
Starts
what
with
they
an
call
M.
yeah
I don't remember though.
Mishaps. I'm just going to call it, when these mishaps occur and people stumble in and get caught up in the other world and preventing them from leaking back into ours. So we're led by our male lead, who in turn, everybody also too has some ability when they become a certain age. I can't remember exactly if it's only females or if it's guys also. If it's everyone.
I think the females, any of the women do, because they eat some type of fruit or something. They said,
yeah,
that
because
men can't have.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all the females have abilities. He's walking
Just
home.
good at housekeeping.
Exactly. He's walking home. He's reminiscing about like his sister and everything, who was lost on this other side and is pronounced dead. One of his friends brings up, but he still thinks she's alive. But falls through along with two other kids, and then is running for his life from all these essentially demon on the other side. Gets rescued by our captain, who is in turn controlling one of the demon as her puppet or her slave, and then pretty much rescues the two kids, but at the risk of losing the one she was controlling. And eventually she makes this brass decision to use him as her servant, which transforms him into this like half human half demon type character, and able to help pretty much defeat all the demons and rescue all the kids. And she comes to the conclusion, I've never done this with a human, and it seems to be super strong and give me the ability to run for the position of like Grand Captain. I forget what the exact
Supreme
name
or
is.
something
Yeah,
like that.
Supreme Captain.
Supreme General.
Yeah,
Or Supreme Commander is what it is.
Some convoluted army referencing name.
They lead all the other people, basically.
Yes, exactly. Because at the very first 5 seconds, we're introduced to her the dark backstory where everyone in her family essentially died. But she makes a pact with him, and then decides to be she makes him their housekeeper. But the caveat to creatures she makes her servant, puppet, slave, you have it, is that she must reward them. And since she's only done that with demons before, it would usually just be like some high end or like some tasty meats. In this case, since it's a high school boy, it is physical affection.
This one was not for me at all.
We're not the target audience.
Not. The story did not, captivate me. Didn't do anything, and then it was just like everything was glanced over, rushed into the demon world, and then at the end of the episode, it was kind of like, oh, now we're set up. Now clean our floors and stuff.
I will say there are some cool stuff if you are going to give this a chance. With the story that does occur later. I know, like, yes, it's got all these, fan servicey things, but the story does get pretty cool. I will say that. And not that I think you guys are going to watch it, or are you? Is that there is a whole big twist with his sister and what happened to her, and like things that come down the line.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
I think
his master is his sister at the end.
I think the animation for the show was well done.
It was really good.
All CG, little CG,
a little CG.
It wasn't like over.
No,
it wasn't over.
There were some that were really bad CG, like Brave Bang. That had horrible CG.
Too much CG.
Yeah, especially too for trying to be like a Gundam-esque mech series. Right. It was really bad.
I was hoping that Bang Bravern was like Code Geass, and it wasn't.
I thought I got big Gundam vibes from it, but yeah, it was sadly I was like, no.
Gundam vibes at the end.
Yeah, halfway through with how the characters are acting, I was like, this feels kind of like somebody watched Top Gun and was like, what if instead of pilots,
It was an
they
anime.
were it was an anime,
They just pilot Gundams.
and they pilot Gundams, and then somebody was like, let's run with that.
Run it.
But but yeah, I thought the fight scene when she first rescues him and just slices that head off real quick, that was a cool scene.
Yeah. I mean, I have nothing else to say about it.
Yeah.
I'd give it a
I'm good
6.
It was 6. I gave it a 7. I liked it. It made me remember the manga, and I was like, all right. But all right, what's next?
The next one is Delicious in Dungeon, streaming on Netflix, and it's by Studio Trigger. So they did Cyberpunk Edge Runners, Kill la Kill, and many more. I'm sure you've heard of them.
Pantheon Stalking.
Yeah. This one got a 7.71 rating, so it's doing a lot better than the other ones we talked about.
It is. And another little tidbit, I'm not sure if you guys know, but do you guys know who voices who's the English voice actor for the girl?
I watched
the elf girl? No. Well, the English voice actor is let me pull up her name. I don't want to get it wrong.
I think you sent it to me. Yeah, I think you sent it to me.
Yeah, the blonde one.
Never wants to eat anything.
Right.
In the IMBD page, it's an actor from another series that recently came out on Netflix. It is Emily Rudd.
Emily Rudd
played Rudd. No relation to Paul Rudd, but she plays Nami in the One Piece live action series.
Oh, yeah, you did send that to me.
Yeah,
interesting.
So she's doing the voice acting of this, and I was like, oh, okay. So it seems like she's doing her part for the anime community, and keeping it going. She did a pretty good job in that too,
keeping it real, as they say.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the first one I watched. Yeah,
it was one of the last ones I watched, and what's it about? Who wants to say? What's it about?
So it's about, I don't know the characters' names. I'll do a quick thing, at least for it. So it's a group of dungeoners. Is that what we're going to call them, I guess?
Yeah, a dungeon party.
Yeah, it's a dungeon party. And they first start off the episode with them fighting this dragon. And they all are very weak because they don't have enough food. They had to fast for a couple days. And one of their party members ends up getting in the jaws of the dragon. And before they were crunched down on, they teleported their entire party out of the dungeon to save them.
They had an escape rope.
They did. They got out of there.
Yeah. Well, because she was too weak, so she couldn't teleport herself. She just got everyone else out.
She wanted to save the rest of the party.
Which doesn't make sense. If she was weak...
But she could do everybody else except for herself. She could save everybody except herself.
No.
Little plot
I don't know.
twist or plot there.
Plot hole.
I think that's pretty reasonable.
I don't think so. I feel like it takes more energy to do multiple people rather than just herself.
So you think that she should have just
left her
brother
and everyone else?
That's not what I'm saying.
Just her.
All right.
So
I guess we know if we were a dungeon party and we went up against a dragon, Chris is our mage. We're just dead right there. Chris
we play
out.
We play D&D with Chris, so we know exactly what he would do at all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But real quick, to get back to the story before we, derail a little bit further, they are back into whatever the spawn village that they're at. All right. Some of the party members leave to join other guilds or whatever, and it's just 3 of them now. So then they start heading to the dungeon. They're like, what should we do for food? I want to sell everything, or I want to go save my sister, he says. So they end up going to a dungeon, and they're thinking, oh, we could try to eat monster food, but it's really gross. And they're trying to cook monster parts that, they find, and the guide says, like, oh, this is safe to eat. He gets sick, and then out of nowhere, this large dwarf-looking gentleman comes in and says, oh, are you making monster food? And kind of just jumps right in and says, like, hey, you should do it this way. He's like, I've been, cooking monster food for 10 years, and no one else, really enjoys it. Then he ends up teaching them how to make a specific dish. They all try it. They love it. They get the energy. He kind of joins the party. So from that point on, they are going through the dungeon, trying to get more monster parts, trying to make all these new delicious meals to get enough energy and get ready to basically go fight the dragon again to save his sister. They fight what was it? What was that monster? It was like a plant. I don't know, like a tentacle plant thing that they have to fight at the end.
It's like a Venus flytrap.
Yeah, it's like a weird, and then it's a weird Venus flytrap. Regardless, they fight all these monsters. I'm kind of pulling a blank after that part, though, to be honest.
Yeah, well,
I think that's like right at the end.
Yeah, just sum it up. It's a party. They fight a dragon. They lose. Half the party gets sent back and safe, but the main protagonist's sister, who saved them all, is in the belly of the dragon, which then they have to go rescue. They in turn want to save money, so they resort to eating monsters to cut back on costs, and do it wrong until they meet a dwarf who in turn helps them do that. And then I think they end with first making it's like a ramen or a soup out of those
Scorpion.
Yeah, out of a dungeon scorpion, and in turn, from it in there. But I liked it. It was fun. The only issue I had with this series was the urgency to go rescue the sister. Like,
slowed down completely.
Yeah, like that was the thing I had the most problem with. That it's like, well, the dragon, and they do kind of, I can't remember if it's in episode 2 or like midway in 1, they talk about a dragon, is just a really like slow creature, and it sleeps most of the time, so anything it eats really slow. It's like, I don't think that's how it works, but
who knows?
This is an anime.
That's what they're trying to do in the reality there.
Like, if
I have
he's
enough about these cooking ones.
Oxygen, I mean, I don't think she's getting any of that in the stomach.
Look, it's their world. It's their world to build upon. So,
yeah, I mean, to me, it seems more like, because they were talking about too, like that they could just resurrect her. Like that seems like it's an option, but I guess it was too much money or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was the way I see this show, like, it's very comedic. It does have some serious tones, but I think it's more comedic.
Did you think it was supposed to be a serious series?
Could have been.
I always thought it was going to be kind of kooky.
I mean, it's listed as a comedy, fancy, gourmet.
It could have been a serious thing. I'm just saying.
No, I don't think that's
definitely
what
more
had in mind.
comedic. So I don't think they're concerned about, you know, if this sister in the dragon is getting oxygen. I don't think that's top priority right now.
Well, it's in the top 10 so far of the ratings.
She's a mage. She can maybe make a bubble with oxygen. I don't know.
Maybe,
but it's definitely in the top 10 of the ratings. I think the characters are likable. They could seem a little dull at times, especially with the elf character.
You watched it in subbed, right?
Yeah, I did.
I watched it dubbed. I don't know what John watched it.
I watched it in dub because it was available, but I don't know. I felt like it was fine in dub. I mean, maybe that's where kind of the drag was for you and the voice acting, because they're not really doing much other than just cooking. They're not really fighting. They're not really doing.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not saying it was a drag. I enjoyed watching it. I think it's very likable, but it's nothing spectacular.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I have a soft spot for anime with cooking in it. I always seem to enjoy them. They always seem cozy. I don't know, to me. So I did enjoy watching it out of the, the series that we have watched this season.
I've been watching it on my Peloton. Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying.
Yeah.
Not riding it. He just has it on there. It sits there.
Yep. I would definitely watch more of it. So I'd give it 7.5.
Really? Okay. I'm not going to get it. I thought you said.
I liked it. It's just not spectacular.
Okay.
Like, there's nothing that truly makes me go, wow. Oh my gosh.
All right. What's the next one up?
All right. The next one is my instant death ability is so overpowered, blah, 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 blah. Big waste of time.
Yeah.
It's really unoriginal. It's just rushed through. It's this. I was just over with like 5 minutes,
I do remember coming across it in one of the manga apps I was using, and I tried like 3 times trying to read it, and it was just very convolutedly written out that it was just like, I don't really get it. I don't get what his like whole thing is. Especially too, because that whole opening sequence with the secret lab that he was, I guess, born in or something was not in the manga. I'm guessing they just like cut that more to beginning to make it more sense. And then the whole thing too with like those 3 guys who were pretty much trying to like get the girl's dead body that they thought she was dead, had been isekai'd before and like were S rank peep players. Like that was just weird. But yeah, I have nothing else to say. It was boring.
Yeah.
I don't feel
very boring, very unoriginal, and once again, we have a super OP
favorite one that we're gonna watch.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, John, you could just leave.
This is my recording.
I don't think we need to spend any more time on my instant death ability. So moving on from that, we talked about Sasaki and Peeps. Anything else we want to add to that one?
I have nothing to say to it. It was just too many plot points and not enough. Yeah, way too long.
Way too long for the first episode.
Yeah. I mean, like, if it was better, it wouldn't have been too long. Then it would have been worth spending 48 minutes watching, but it just wasn't.
If it were better, we would have liked it.
Yeah. All right, moving on from that. What do we got?
Wait, where did that one fall on the ranking? That was... Damn, that's number 12 on the list. I'm surprised. At a 7.63. People really like that one. Damn.
So after that, The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic. Now, this is by Shin Ai Animation. I don't know if you know anything like Cran Shin-chan. Have you heard of that character at all? It's an older anime. They've done a ton of like series and movies for it. But they also did Mr. Villain's Day Off, which is also on our list. So, and a whole bunch of other.
Yeah. I know this one. That school romance one, right?
Yeah.
That has like 5 different spin-offs. That I like that one. That studio also did those. Okay. I can see that.
So The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic, that got a 7.62 on my anime list, which I think is a decent score.
Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it.
This is an isekai, a refreshing isekai, I might add, with little to no fan service, no idiotic characters, nor some random god that gives someone an OP power.
Exactly.
Like, it's a decent...
It was a summoned isekai for the heroes party.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have enough to get me hooked. The story's kind of basic, in my opinion.
This was the crystal ball one, right? Where they had to put their hands on the crystal ball.
So the rundown of it is he wasn't
supposed to be there.
Yeah, our main protagonist, who knows he's a background character, befriends the 2 most popular kids while walking home in the rain one day. And they all just get to talking about life and how kind of they're unfulfilled and what they're going to be doing later in life. And then all of a sudden, the 2 popular ones hear these bells, and a magic circle appears, and they're transported in front of a king and his court in a new world. And then all of a sudden, they're like, well, we only summoned 2 people, and he got just dragged along for the adventure. But as they're kind of figuring out what their magic, affinity
Ability
is,
or attribute.
Their magic affinity attribute. It turns out that he is a healer, which is super rare, super hard to come by in that kingdom. And they start freaking out and say, we need to hide him. We need to protect him from what turns out one of the main other healer who runs a secret squadron. Pretty much kidnaps him away to go seriously train, which I remember reading this one. I enjoyed it. There's a lot of good stuff. I like the style of it, even though it felt like one of the cheaper designs for these series. It just reminded me really of like just 90s late night anime and a good, enjoyable story. I liked it, especially too. The two other main characters are like just are refreshing. They're like, it's the girl who's overly obsessed with being in the fantasy world and like she didn't want to like do anything serious even though she was like all perfect and everything. Then you have the guy he wants to get back because he liked his life and he wants to move on to the next stage of it. And then the guy who just didn't know what to do and he's like, I'll just do whatever. It gets thrust out.
Just 'cause he
I really
walked
liked
in
it.
with them.
Yeah.
I did enjoy watching it, but it's, like I said, it's not enough to have me hooked. So,
Man,
I'm on Chris's point. I mean, but if Chris and me are agreeing on the same point, like I thought it was like I think it's a good idea, but like the story of like we don't know what's going on in this kingdom besides like they need healers because he gets to that like the lady healers, I don't know, state, and she has all these like people helping her, but none of them are actually healers. They're just people, and it's just, like not
the healers
are
are
like,
coming.
What's next? The healers are coming. But yeah, no. I thought it was interesting to watch, but not hooked really.
sure, I agree.
I'll definitely be watching it on my off time. I like it.
Amongst all the other anime.
It's something that I see myself continuing watching, but I'm not pressed to see everything right away. All right, so moving on, we got Tale of Wedding Rings. This was Staple Entertainment. I think it might be a newer studio because they don't have a lot of titles under their belt. There was nothing notable that I recognized. It got a 6.69 rating, which I was a little surprised at.
I was surprised too. It was one I kind of mentioned before that they had been teased almost 2 years ago. I remember the manga for it, which Chris used to definitely try and read, is very beautifully done, is very like flushed out. The animation wasn't bad, but just like you said, it's a newer studio. They don't really have many other credits to it. I looked that up too. And some points were like really nice, and there were some points where it was kind of like iffy in the overall design. It wasn't bad, but the story, like, and how beautifully done the manga is, I hope it picks up in like the next couple of episodes. Because it's a pretty cool fantasy adventure one, even though it's technically an isekai also, but it's
right
an isekai romance that wasn't directly isekai. It was his choice.
How they went about the isekai aspect, it kind of reminded me of Across the Spider-Verse when Miles is,
he makes that decision
to go through the portal. Yeah. I thought that was an interesting way to go about, transporting to another world. But other than that, there are some, like you said, some moments where the animation was good, and then some where it's just pretty basic. But I don't know if I'm super interested in the story. I did enjoy watching it.
Yeah,
but it's nothing.
I think there was some unnecessary fan service. Really,
definitely, they could have went without the hot tub scene.
Yeah, like I felt like there could have been some urgency, or like I don't know, they could have just done it a little bit differently. Because I guess that they wanted it to be more of like a cutesy thing towards the two, and how they do like each other. It's like, oh well, how do we push this upon them basically? Because technically they're married now at this point. I really like the story of him
there's
like,
the whole,
doing whatever it takes.
There's a whole thing of like their relationship, from them being kids and everything, and like how he does have feelings for her, and they almost missed like their opportunity. But I really like the manga of it, and hopefully like the production value goes up for it, because for this one I would definitely expect a more seasoned studio to do it, but I'm for it. But yeah, I was surprised too, because it's not overly fan service like some of the other ones.
Yeah,
but enough. It has enough story and enough fan service, I think, to
the right way to describe it is tasteful fan service.
Yeah,
like it's not necessary, but it's not too much.
It's
not
it's
over the
done
top
with
like
a,
Magic
it's
Girl.
done with
Yeah.
a point. Yeah, it's done with a point where it's like they're married now. You're gonna have the trope of like, oh, what does newlywed couples do? They have like the sauna scene and all that stuff, the hot springs.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised. I really thought it was gonna get at least like a 7.5 or something when I was like going on this list. I'm really shocked that some of these are higher on it, such as like Mr. Villain's Day Off,
Yeah.
or in turn, like
Get to it.
Fluffy
We'll get to it.
Paradise.
We'll get to
I'm
it.
really shocked that they're higher up on it, but I think it's probably the animation that did it in.
Probably.
But yeah, I don't have anything else to say. I'll probably watch it just to see if it gets better, but well.
So, anything else you want to add? Or are you good?
No, I'm good. I enjoyed everything except for the unnecessary fan service. I would continue to watch it. Like you said, it wasn't over the top. It was, put it in your words, Chris, tasteful.
Yeah, tasteful. Okay, moving on. We have another romance, A Sign of Affection. Now, this was done by Agiado Studios. If you remember earlier, like one of our first few episodes, we watched an anime called Revenger that didn't turn out to be good.
Revenger.
Don't even remember it, so it's probably
Yeah. Well, they also worked on Revenger and some other shows that I also don't recognize. This one got the highest so far in terms of ratings, 8.30. It's about a girl.
Oh, Revenger. That was awful. Yeah. I remember that one.
A delayed reaction, but yes.
I was like, wow, lag on John's reaction. I was like,
I just searched it. That was the one where we all kept falling asleep. At least I did.
that Gamer 7 was like?
It was that samurai one where his like wife put him everything against him, and then it turned out to okay. But yeah, Signs of Affection. It's in spot number 4.
Yeah, it's about a deaf girl. She's in college, and the first episode starts off with an introduction into her world. So we're going through her little monologue. We find out she's deaf. But then
they don't say they don't explain that she's deaf until.
But we can really put the pieces together.
The first interaction. I didn't until the moment that
that's right. Is
she fully deaf? Because I know she has those like.
No, she's fully deaf.
Specializing.
Because that opening scene, it's completely silent.
Okay, but
I'm not up on that. I just was just.
I'm not.
It's just quiet.
I'm very ignorant and don't know at all about like any of the deaf like community and like the severity of it. But like, I thought that like those hearing things are for people who are like almost deaf and like allow them to hear
like
to a certain degree. Yeah, like they're implant ones that usually.
Those ones I think
it could be, but I'm interpreting it that
I just don't know what purpose they would serve, like having them.
She might very well hear muffled sounds, but I'm certain she has no hearing because of how they displayed that first opening sequence. It was silent. She even talked about just feeling the vibrations, but. She's on a train. She bumps into a guy who is asking for directions somewhere.
American.
It's a foreigner. She doesn't know how to handle the situation because of the disconnect, that barrier. And then another individual comes up, takes the reins, can communicate with this foreigner very well, sends him on his way. And these two characters now, the deaf girl and the guy, I don't remember his name, but he has white hair. They get to talking, do a little introduction. They discover they go to the same college, and the story goes on. It's the typical love story. I don't think I missed anything major.
We had Chris explain this, who hates love completely.
That's true. Yeah.
Listen. Chris, they didn't talk.
Have a moment, Chris.
They had a very beautiful moment
into each other's eyes in the snow, and
she panicked because she couldn't explain and sign to the foreigner, and then once the main character guy helps out, he turns to her.
Chris is just allergic.
Can read his lips, and he says he can speak Japanese fine. I just told him where to go, and then that's when she holds up her phone and like wants to thank him and like has it written out, and that's when I was like, oh, she's deaf. I was like, oh my god.
You're late. How did you pick up on that so late?
I didn't pick up on it until she went like this with her hair, and you could see that. And then I was like, oh. And then that's when it connected with me, sign of affection. No, I think it's a very cute love story. And then they have similar friendships or friendship groups, at least at school.
Mm-hmm.
And her
there's going to be a whole bunch of slice of life romance going on.
Yeah. Go to the ramen shop or that diner to kind of meet up with him. And like John said just a moment ago, they have a very cute moment in the snow. And I know you like that scene, Chris, because you mentioned it, let me into your world. And you were like, I felt something.
Because if someone said that to me, I'd be like, damn.
Bro, John and I both said, I love you, Chris. And you're just like,
that's everyone says that.
Whatever.
But
whatever.
I have a few issues with the show.
If I didn't, would I even be here?
Yeah. Thanks, Ryan.
I have a few issues with the show.
Yeah, I didn't for romance. Sorry to cut you off. I didn't. It wasn't the best implementation for me. I wasn't as wowed. I don't think it should be number 4 on the list. Like, if you look at the other kind of romance we've seen, like My Love Story with Yamada, I think that's a way better.
That's what I was telling Sai.
I think that's done way better. The personality, and I think at least what brought it down for me is the personality of the guy that she's introduced with. Like, it's, even though he's kind of stoic and like the popular guy, but like doesn't really do much, which is the same in My Love Story with Yamada, I don't really like him. And I'm not really like, the whole romance between the two of them, I'm not like sold on it.
I think what got me though is that like he wants to learn. He asks her, how do I say it in sign? And you can see that that's developing. Like, he wants to learn to sign to be able to communicate with her, and like to like the line, into your world, or I forget exactly what it was, but yeah, Chris, go on.
I think
as we both cut you off completely. You probably now lost your train of thought because of John, not me, but John.
I was just gonna say, while the show is good, right? It has good animation, good, I don't want to say good pacing, but it felt appropriate with how it went.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say it's a strong romance anime.
No.
Because like you brought up Yamada-kun, like that romance starts a couple episodes in. It builds up. While this one is all in the first episode. So there's no build up, there's no tension, there's no like drama that's really happening. And I just feel like it fails to encapsulate a compelling romance between the characters.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, so it's just like, at first I did like it, but as I thought about it a little bit more, it's just not quite there.
I think for as pretty as it is, as beautiful as some of the scenes were, and as like interesting as some of the other characters are, and like the main character, what is her name, Yuki, I love her character design, I love her personality and everything. I'm just, like you said, I'm not sold on this romance, like, and I think I could have been. That scene where at the very end where he's walking her home in the snow, it didn't have that moment which I expected, which kind of disappointed me, where he, like, I haven't seen him have that moment of like, I know what you said of like, oh, he's like asking her to sign, but I think more so up until that point, that's more of him just being the social person that he is, and just like how that girl comes into to that like bar he's working and like kisses on the cheek, and he's been but he's been like traveling around the world. But when we have that scene of him seeing her and how like overjoyed she is that like he says, oh, I want to be friends, I was waiting for that big blush and like just like him being like, I think I like this girl like a lot, and I just didn't get that feeling that it was like It didn't.
does
It
this.
didn't Yeah, but it didn't encapsulate it. It was, to me, it was more of like, oh, they're still just friends, and it wasn't. It didn't wow me like some of the other love stories we've seen have been.
Voice did it better. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, that's what that name of that one was. I couldn't remember it. But yeah,
that was on.
That's
what is that on? Is that Netflix has it?
I think it's on
think
Netflix
so.
right now.
The movie side. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I watched the trailer and everything.
I cried during the silent voice.
Yeah, I remember reading it before it got adapted. It was really good. But yeah, I just don't think the male lead in it is a good character design.
No.
Of just like personality wise and everything. But I think honestly, I liked Cherry Magic's pseudo romance.
There yet. We're not there yet. John loves to jump all over one's pogo stick to find somewhere. So
Well, at
keep
least
John on
like
the same page.
can-
Rile him up.
all right, moving
So
on.
this is a yes from me. It's a solid maybe from them too.
Well,
I give it
all right,
a 7.
a 7.
Still very
And just to let everybody know, the order that we're going in is a release date order. So I went and pulled these from air date from the first show that aired all the way to the last show that aired. So that's why we're going in this particular order.
All right. Next on the list, the Demon
Mhm.
Prince of Momochi House. We already talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's one of the ones we were not a fan of.
Yeah. The only thing I have to say was it's giving very strong Fruit Basket vibes with how everything's laid out, but it doesn't encapsulate what Fruit Baskets do. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
It got a 6.44 rating. I'd say it's enjoyable, but it's nothing special.
I gave it an average. It's a 5.
Yeah.
It's very lackluster.
But one thing I do want to say, the studio that did it is Drive Studio, and they are also working on Uzumaki by Juji Ito, and I'm very excited for that. I just thought that was really interesting.
All right.
So after moving on from that, we have Fluffy Paradise.
Ooh.
Very cutesy, but definitely not something that's going to be on my list to watch.
I didn't like it at all. Not for me.
Who could have saw that?
Who would have guessed?
Who would
But
have guessed, Kristen?
this got a 7.32 rating.
It's very cute. It's a very cutesy anime, but it's just not our style.
Yeah, I say it was cutesy. It's an isekai. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, it was. There's something I can't remember about that. I was like, okay, I kind of get it, but yeah, it was not. I won't be watching it. It's for the cute fluffiness.
Yeah,
I like her. I think her power is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, obviously, she's going to use it to unite the world and all that stuff. Yeah. But,
okay. Moving on. Halfway point. We're at the halfway mark.
Ooh.
Hour and 15 minutes in.
Solo Leveling. Now, this was done by A1 Pictures, who also worked on Erase, Sword Art Online, Fairy Tail, Seven Deadly Sins, Blue Exorcist, Mashal, and many more. So, I mean, Solo Leveling is a very popular manhwa. Is that how you say it? A webtoon?
Yeah, it's a webtoon. I don't know why you would say manhwa.
Because that's the word. It's a Korean
what was the word
comic.
you couldn't say earlier? Just go on.
Eki.
Yeah.
But Solo Leveling, this is an anime that's been talked about for a long time.
Hyped up, yes.
Yeah.
Hyped up for a very long time. And with it's also been very controversial because there's been 4 other webtoons that have been adapted into animes, and more or less they've all flopped. They haven't really gotten any viewership on them. And a lot of it's due to like I think the stylization of like how webtoons don't really translate as well to
it's
to
all
this.
very unique like style. And I feel like too webtoons have a lot of context and information in each chapter. So I feel like while I haven't read Solo Leveling, I feel like there's a lot that was left out because it does feel a little rushed to where we left off in the first episode.
Yeah, I haven't read it.
I'm just gonna say I did enjoy watching it though.
Yeah.
I think the animation at times can be basic, but at the points where it matters, they do put that budget in there. It has potential, is what I'm saying.
Like Naruto does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I said this before, and I might have said it in the last episode we recorded, but I had really low expectations for this, despite it being a global phenomenon webtoon. And like, I think it's one of the fastest selling webtoons ever. But I just, from like what history showed us, I did not expect it to perform well. And when I was watching, I had them, and I was like, okay, I get it, especially too because there'd been all those talks about they changed. It originally takes place in Korea. They moved it to Japan. The character's name originally was Korean. They gave him a Japanese name. I thought like, these things aren't really going to do, like, to me, I was like, I don't think it's going to do much to aid to it, but I still don't necessarily think changing the location and changing the names necessarily did anything better to it. But I think the stylization choices that they went with to like change it from how the webtoon was greatly helped, and probably the pacing and like the ordering of the story that they did greatly helped, because I was watching and I was like, okay, the one thing I think that this show should have did, and I'm surprised they didn't, was this should have been a 40-minute episode. This should have been a 40-minute episode, like getting you all the way in, because I think episode 2, from like what I've kind of seen online and what it kind of like ends in, is supposed to be a much like deeper endpoint. And I feel like that would have made it like a huge thing, because this is supposed to be like, at least from how it's been marketed and people talking about, like, this is supposed to be on the level of like JJK and like all these other like great action stories that we're going to see. But I think it was just too short of a first episode to really drive that point down. But I did really like it. The animation, I think, was pretty good. I'm excited. This will be on my personal watch list for the season.
Yeah, same here. I'll continue watching. Yeah. It got an 8.47, which is second highest so far. Go ahead, Sai.
I could get through it. I'm not going to say I really enjoyed it. I don't have anything really bad to say about it. From what John is saying, though, I think if they did, it felt like it ended not like on a cliffhanger part, but like, or like I've been wanting more left off, kind of confused, like, oh, why'd they end it there? That's so weird. But if they did make the first episode 40 minutes, I feel like they could have left me more in an awe moment, like, oh, okay, like what's gonna happen? Like I feel like I'm not driven enough yet.
Yeah, and I think
I'm not saying it's bad. I did like it, but
I think that's still just one of the hurdles of like, this is a webtoon. This is not a standard manga to anime adaptation, and webtoons usually a lot of the first episodes, because they are meant to hook the reader, because if they don't hook you, you're not going to spend like in many of these webtoon apps coins and things and reading it. So most of those first chapters are like the equivalent of 2 chapters or 3 chapters long, and like getting you in there, and to like jump from that to this screen adaptation of it, it definitely shows in the pacing that I think it's going to be, because that was the same thing too when Tower of God came out. I was like, I have no idea how they're going to incorporate all of this information into a series, and I still don't know how they're going to do a whole series of that.
That's what turned me off from the anime, because I love Tower of God. I buy coins to read future chapters, but the anime just left so much out.
Like, I liked how they styled it. I think they did a great job in styling Tower of God.
It's closer to the original.
But it's just like, I have no idea, and I said it when it was coming out, I have no idea how they're going to execute this in the long run of things. And this, it kind of makes sense that they're like, all right, we're going to try and change things that we can without breaking it entirely. But I think because it's not heard of doing, because we obviously watched, the first one we watched was 40 minutes long on something that like none of us had any information about. I feel like they very well could have did this, especially with the A1 Pictures producing this, that it would have been something easily done and should have been done. But I feel like, Sai, you'd probably get a way better enjoyment out of reading this, or one that I think you might like a lot better, which I think is actually being it might be in talks to be the next webtoon one, since this one was such high views on it, is Omniscient Viewpoint. I think that's what it's called, or Omniscient Reader. That's also a webtoon one. Similar story, but I think is way more interesting. But this also came out a while ago. I think Solo Leveling.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's been around.
Yeah, it's number 1 in new series on my anime list for the season. It's number 3, but those are 2 returning series ahead of it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I think it's safe to say we might be watching that one.
I don't know. We might be.
All right, moving on. We talked about this one already. The Strongest Tanks Labyrinth raids.
Yeah. So boring.
So boring. I think we should just, give
let's
one or two
skip it.
comments and then move on from this.
I tried watching it twice, and I have no idea what it's about, to be honest. And the second time I made it all the way through because I had to restart.
Watched Magic Girls 4 times through.
I did, yeah. The mouse button was stuck, and it just kept looping, and I've got a whole bunch of notes on it. Crazy.
Yeah, it's just like it wasn't really good. It's an adventure anime series, but you could find.
I think it was the only one I
gave.
I gave a 4 on that. I was just like, this is bad.
Yeah,
I don't.
Sai, you want to say anything about it before we move on?
No.
Head shake.
No.
I like it.
No.
All right. So next on the list is 7th Time Loop. The Villainous enjoys a carefree life married to her worst enemy.
Again, going into these shows without reading the description, I got through halfway in the show when they started doing the B-roll of the different lives, and I went, oh my God. Gotta watch each one. What the hell?
Yeah.
Well, at least they only did it for the first 3 lives, and then it was like they just.
Then I was hoping. I was like, please fast forward through this.
Yeah. So it's a.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Oh, okay. Synopsis: it's a second chance at life series with our protagonist starting off with fighting in a war, gets stabbed, you think she's going to die, and then is brought back to the start of her life where she's being thrown out by her to-be fiance, who's calling off their engagement for something that she did that she has no recollection of doing. Yeah. And shows that she's like, but this isn't my first life. And she starts talking about, which is essentially her Groundhog's Day of like living these essentially at most 5 years of life before something happens and she ends up dying and being brought back. And now she's on her 7th loop. And each time she does something differently, like on her second life, she was trying to redo that merchant life route that she got, but then misses it and ends up going down a route of medicine. And I thought that was pretty interesting for like it's not like the same thing again. And it's like she gets to build all these new skills. That really like interests me. And then we get to the most recent one where she's just kind of like fed up with it, and she's just like, look, I just want to live as long as possible. And she's going this whole new route and ends up getting bumped into the person who essentially kills her in her last life during this big war. Violent. Yeah. Again, I was like, oh, I really like that sword fight scene at the beginning. I really like that. I was like, okay,
he was just casually walking through. Like,
I was like, this is like a Toonami scene right now of like I was like, this is kind of like some vampire, like at night castle fighting stuff. I was like getting Castlevania vibes from it. I was like, all right, I like it. But it leads to then her bumping into him becoming interested in her, and then essentially him, I think he proposed to her at the end, or like just announced his But
he was definitely captivated by her because like
she jumps from a balcony,
then jumped from the balcony, and tuck and rolled.
They sword fight again.
Oh,
That's
right. Right at the end,
he was like,
oh shit! Where'd you learn how to do that? Like, and he was like,
I was
very
like,
intrigued.
I honestly really like this one. I saw it and I was like, okay. The only part that made me hesitant was like what you said. It's like, am I really going to watch every life? But then they cut it off right when I said that. I literally said that and they jumped through. I was like, okay, they're really thinking about this. But
I was like, all right.
this was definitely, I think, I'll say this was definitely in my top 5. I really liked it. I kind of want to see more about this, but that's all I have to say.
The animation was good too.
Yeah.
Like the kind of vibe it was, especially the dark night at the end, kind of like the moonlight and stuff, how they're doing everything. It looked really cool.
Yeah, I really didn't expect the blood of that. Yeah.
I'm not on the same page as you. I think
plot-wise,
the story is interesting.
This is number 3 of new series.
Okay. Plot-wise is interesting.
Okay.
I think the animation at points could be like Microsoft Office PowerPoint slides sometimes.
Okay.
There were some scenes where
really
it just wasn't up to par. And the characters, while you have the main female lead and the one that kills her, we're not introduced to any other characters, so everyone else that we see is just very flat one-dimensional characters. So
not when she's going in the beginning over her lives, like the merchant, she learns all about the doctor.
It's almost the same thing every time. Like, yes, she lives a new life. We meet the doctor briefly, we meet the merchants briefly, but everyone else is the same, and it's just getting replayed again and again. So I don't think this was a very strong anime. It's watchable, not exceptional. I think it lacks rewatch value.
Wow.
Well, we're not talking about rewatch. Let's clip it here, and then at the end of the season, we'll see what he says, if he likes it or not.
We're not doing how many times can we rewatch it? Or this isn't a loop 7th time rewatching the series.
Death Note, Full Metal Alchemist, and Avatar: The Last Airbender is not an anime, but I watched all of those shows over 10 times.
Chris, this isn't the rewatch anime podcast.
I'm just saying.
Anime Public Radio. And what we do on Anime Public Radio is we watch anime. No, this is anime, and we watch new anime.
I'm just saying.
Maybe we watched one new anime.
You're gonna talk about rewatching anime when you didn't even finish watching all of the anime from last season?
Cricket.
Okay.
My point in saying that was it's not exceptional.
Okay.
No worries. We can move on. We know we feel your strong feelings on it. So it's a yes and a yes from me, a yes from John, a heck no from Chris.
Yep.
I think it's worth watching. Yeah.
The Unwanted Undead Adventurer.
Can we give the synopsis of this one?
So John, can you do the synopsis, please?
Yeah. Pretty much we're introduced to a low-level adventurer who's in turn at essentially a boss level of a dungeon that he's in and getting killed with what we later find out is a dragon, which I thought was a really cool design for a dragon. I really liked it.
Yeah.
But is dead, and then we're kind of flash forward it with, we don't really know how much time, because it kind of looked like everything got destroyed, but I don't know if that's from what the dragon did or if it's just been a really long time.
It's unclear.
But he wakes up to in turn come to realize that he's now a skeleton, like there are in the dungeons, who just in turn is reanimated, not knowing how or what occurred, and is trying to figure out what to do and can't speak or anything. And he's trying to find his way out of the dungeon, encounters another skeleton, manages to defeat it because he still has kind of access to his strength. Yeah, his mana strength.
Mana. That's what
and destroying it, he realizes that he absorbs the life force of that skeleton, and he realizes with a couple of flashbacks that we have of his life and some I think she was a mage that he was working for, explaining of things can, level up essentially and become human again in hopes, or something near human, which at the end he's like, I could totally become a vampire. That's close to human. But so he's slowly
Undead, fastest thing.
Exactly. Slowly keeps targeting them, skeletons and slimes, and then ends the first episode in achieving the rank of a ghoul and kind of being able to talk again. But other than that, we don't really know much else about where the story is going to go. He hasn't even made it outside of the labyrinth. But for first episode, I really liked the animation was good. The dragon design was awesome. I think of all the dragons that I've seen over this last year. Yeah, well, obviously.
You know what's interesting? So. We might see it again, but I also think it might look different because didn't it choose, like the dragon chose how it looks? I'm pretty sure that was mentioned in the show.
Did it? I have no idea.
Yeah.
He kind of just walked in and it was there.
I remember he was saying, is that a dragon? I think that's a dragon. So I don't think anyone is in this world has necessarily seen a dragon or seen one and lived to tell the tale of like what a dragon is.
I'm pretty sure at some point during the episode, someone says that the dragons can pick how they look.
But it's probably him because he talks throughout the entire episode.
I might have to rewatch it and go back and let you know. I have a vague memory of hearing that. But yeah, I do agree. The dragon looks really cool because it's not your typical dragon. It has human arms.
Yeah,
wings.
I like that idea of like, oh well, we can essentially just like how folklore exists and like evolves over time. Is like we can decide however our dragon wants to look. Like this is a completely different world. It doesn't have to be a scaly red and turn beast. It can be this cool. And the fact that it wasn't like overly CGI or anything was just great. Yeah. I really liked it.
Yeah, this feels like a solid adventure anime.
Yeah.
I think they paced it well too in the beginning.
Yeah, I'll definitely be watching it to kind of see, because as of right now, I don't know where the story is going to go other than him getting out and trying to get back to the mage lady. But we don't really have much of another story or anything. I feel like he's probably going to run into somebody who's going to join his party in the dungeon as he's like slowly becoming more. But
accidentally started some episode. I definitely accidentally started episode 2.
No spoiling.
Wait a minute. No. And you know what happens?
Wait, who to throw another random thought? Who watched all of what was the one that I brought up that I was like, who watched all of this?
Did. I fell asleep. Okay.
What show was it again?
I don't. Fluffy. It was Fluffy.
Fluffy.
I think Chris is gonna. Parents. All right. Well, I'll keep an eye on it.
I fell asleep.
All 3 episodes.
I fell asleep during the first one.
Okay.
Because it was that boring.
Okay. Well, when episode 4 comes out,
I'm not watching. All right. Moving on. This is another one that I have no interest in. Mr. Villain's Day Off.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good take on like a very slice of life different take, especially from the villain side.
It's a slice of life. I wouldn't categorize it.
It's like you're seeing the life of his days off, of him doing normal activities like going to get ice cream, and then him helping children. Like, oh, I'll get you.
What
ice
else
cream.
would you call it? What other thing? We can see what it's literally.
I would call it romance.
He doesn't fight anybody or anything. He's obsessed with pandas. I think it's a funny watch.
Where is it?
That's really what I would count it down to. I didn't dislike watching it. I thought it was pretty funny.
What score was it given? I'm trying to find it on here, but
it was 7.14.
Yeah, people really like this one, which I was surprised. The animation was really lackluster. There wasn't much going on with it.
Yeah, I think it's very basic.
It's a cool idea of like this whole thing of seeing, kind of like how even Gushing Over Magical Girls did. You're seeing the point of view from the other side, a story that we've seen so many times, like instead of the hero's view or like the surrounding, we're getting it from the villain's one. But it was just boring and lackluster story. I honestly, if you want something that's kind of the same thing of like, because he bumps into that Power Ranger who's like, "Are we gonna fight today?" And he's like, "No, yeah, it's my day off. I've become obsessed with hot pot, so I'm going to make that." But Love Before World Domination, million times better. Same kind of synopsis of like we're seeing the Evil League's point of view and both the Rangers' point of view. I think I've mentioned before, you two should definitely watch that. But if you're gonna watch anything, would recommend to go watch that instead. This was not.
We can't. We have all these other. We got all these other anime to watch.
It's only 12 episodes. You can fit it in.
I'm gonna stop you
in
right
like
there.
a weekend.
No.
Yeah, we're gonna watch it.
Like I said
Moving on.
earlier, yeah, we're gonna move on. But I'm not a fan of slice of life, really. So that's why I just said no.
It's a comedy supernatural. I don't know if I agree with the supernatural aspect, but it's definitely. Yeah.
Go.
All right. Next on the list is Hokkaido Girls Are Super Adorable. Another romance.
I have read
story.
this one. Yeah.
You have read it?
Yeah, I've read it.
Okay.
It's one of those. It runs the classic trope of like, it's a triangle romance that like you're introduced to the main romantic interest. Even I want to point out, even though you duck to the side when this is like full screen on YouTube, your whole
100%.
window is gonna come up.
Oh no, I ducked
Yeah.
to the microphone. I wanted you guys to hear me drink it.
Oh,
No, you
okay.
didn't. No,
Yes,
you did not.
I
He's trying to
went like
cover it
this.
up.
Why would
Uh-huh.
I drank from this multiple times, throughout this recording. I went like this.
We couldn't
Well,
hear you. Can you do it again for us?
No.
Getting back to it, yeah. So it's like a triangle romance where there's like a bunch of potential romance interests, but you clearly know who the main ones are, and the whole thing of like, oh, is it going to be this or this? And I really wish there would be a genuine like manga or anime romance one that would come out and actually like make it be like you're not going to know who they actually end up with the end. Like really surprised me because it just ruins it for me. Like, why waste all this time? Why like beat around the bush so long? Or like the other kind of trope I hate with it is like they introduce the next door neighbor girl that you've been friends with the whole time, and they like hint at things, and then all of a sudden they get rid of it, and they're like, the girl he met for 5 minutes is going to be the main love interest. I hate that because it's just like there's nothing interesting about that one. Well, no, that's not
any of the
same.
first episode talking about this one. This one,
I know.
honestly,
I'm
was just
saying
like
about tropes.
Just was
It was
unoriginal.
very pretty animation for it. Would
Really pretty animation.
I think because of that's really what did it.
Yeah, but
You mean
it's all right.
No, Chris, don't shake your head at me.
What does that have to do with anything?
This doesn't have a sword in it, so I don't expect you to even look at it.
No, but like because of the snow is white.
Them breathing and them being able to see everything, the rosy cheeks that they both have.
I think it goes far beyond
details.
Snow.
No, I don't.
Yeah, why is there swords? Is there swords and magic hiding
underneath? See the line work on each panel?
On the panel of the anime.
Did you see when she sneezes and gets
just
over her hand? And he's like,
yeah, that was
cute.
crazy. But that was supposed to be cute.
Yeah.
I would have gagged immediately if I saw that. Like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
It causes him to forget to get on the bus, which he still ends up getting to the school before her.
Yeah, that is.
No, it was the next day, though.
That was the next day.
Yeah. But I don't think we need this.
That was the next day.
Because he gets there and then she's like, "Oh, the boy from the bus stop."
On the next day.
Okay.
I don't think we need to spend.
It was almost nighttime. It was almost nighttime.
Watching it right now. I'm pulling it up.
I don't think we need to spend more time on this one.
Okay.
Is it one of your top twos?
I'm saving that till the end.
All right, moving on. All right, we talked about this one earlier as well. The Foolish Angel Dances with the Devil.
This isn't my top two.
No, it wasn't. No, it's not.
You told us you're waiting till the end. We're
Yeah.
not going to believe you.
Well, if we're already gonna bring it up, I love the manga of it. Think it's a really funny story.
This is
Be
the
serious.
It's a-
lackluster
it's a break-
story with dull
It's a
animation.
new story, you
Not
know.
worth a watch.
It's
I
like
agree with
Romeo
Chris.
and Juliet. You know, two
Have you
two
ever
families that
seen anything Romeo and
an angel and a demon, you know?
Oh, that was so.
No, I'm
it's
kidding.
just not
I'm
worth
kidding.
the watch at all.
Oh,
I thought it was funny at least. I thought it's mostly a funny.
I just went,
I thought it was
come
pretty
on,
corny.
really? Come on, really? That's all I
Yeah.
can think the entire time.
All right.
I think we could just move forward. You know, it got a 6.49. It's already not good with the community.
You didn't think it was funny with the teacher and him trying to get sympathy by being bald and then
No,
Okay.
I'm when it comes to anime and comedy, I'm a hard sell. Like it has to be really fun. I can't even think of a funny anime that I've watched.
Michi and Dolly.
That's not like
That
I
was
mean-
comedy thriller.
yeah, but I
Comedy
think it leans more on. Ah, you're right. It's definitely funny.
Yeah.
But it's hard.
Okay.
So
Make
leave
some
comment.
recommendations. Yeah.
Yeah, let us know.
We're on the final stretch now, everybody. We're on the final
Yes,
stretch.
we have
If you
a-
made it this far, thank you.
Yes. All right. Next on the list, "'Tis Time for Torture, Princess."
Yeah, I liked it. It was good. It's not a like, oh, you got to watch every episode. You can literally pick it up any episode, and it's gonna be. This is a comedy. This is a funny.
That's got to be the only thing that has
It's
to be.
all it is.
To me,
It's
there's
just a comedy.
Yeah.
It's just gags
Yeah.
and gimmicks, and it's just Princess Peach eating.
And here's the thing. Remember how I said earlier that animes that have
But that fight scene.
I have a
at the
soft
beginning,
spot for the food in this made me so hungry when I was watching it. I was like, man,
Yeah, I'll
I'm
agree
so
with
hungry.
you, Sai. Like, I think the best thing this anime has is the animation with the food and how they display it. It does have its
Well, I
funny
said it.
moments, but
it's a comedy, fantasy, gourmet.
yeah. I just don't think it has longevity.
Yeah, but that fight scene at the beginning.
It was okay.
it was like 30 seconds.
Yeah, but
One
it was
swipe of the
amazing.
sword.
30 seconds. Go back and rewatch it.
No,
Right
fine.
now.
I have a lot to watch, or else you'll yell
Right
at
now.
me.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it has
It's a
its moments where
borderline
it is
7.
good. Yeah.
It beat out the Hulu Ishura.
It did.
Yeah.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, for something that has no real like overarching story. Like it beat that out.
I guess because it's more just a comment. Everybody can kind of pick it up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Alright.
so this next one on the list, I was very confused with. It's called Villainous Level 99. I may be the hidden boss, but
Oh.
I'm not the demon lord.
Talk about backpedaling hard
Yeah.
halfway through an episode.
I was
just going,
so
Yeah.
confused.
everything I just watched was just
Yeah.
A video
fucking
game?
like a filler.
They thought they
What
were
was this?
real clever. I
Yeah,
said
and
that.
I
I
was
was like, they thought they were real slick with this. Oh, this
That just
M. Night-
upset me, honestly. I was just like,
M.
I,
Night Shyamalan
waste.
twist. I was
Yeah.
like,
It
it
did
got
not
me
enjoy
upset.
this. It was
Which-
frustrating.
The thing I have an issue with, because this is an isekai, but I've read a couple others that have done the same thing. It's a video game. So
Yeah.
is it are they being born into the video game, or is it a world that's practically the same of that video game?
I think they said practically the same because when she said she came to that world as she was reborn as like a child, then she started realizing like, oh, this is like the video
Yeah.
game, and then she
I don't know, I
found
didn't pay
out
that much
with
attention.
the other characters. I was questioning the entire thing when I was watching it. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
what? And
Well,
it
at the
made me had to
beginning-
think really hard, and I was just like,
So I had two like, oh, this is what's going on moments. The beginning, I was like, this feels like a dating sim. This feels like a dating sim. And then I was like, oh, this is a dating sim. And I was like, I guess we're gonna see like the players decisions, and then like we're gonna get maybe the like idea of like the characters and like their thoughts in it. And like I thought that might have been like a cool back and forth of like seeing like how somebody's playing a game and the NPCs also having like inner monologues of like talking. But then it was like, but then I died because I overworked myself till I was 30, and I was like, oh fucking hell, this is where we're going.
Falls flat on their face.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay.
Which
what?
which had pretty much the same death as Fluffy what was it? Fluffy
Paradise.
Paradise, but at least they showed you that. That's what I thought. That's what I remember about Fluffy Paradise. That I was like, that's a pretty dark and like straightforward death for a series that's going to be like this.
Very cute and fluffy.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what they wanted to do. They wanted a complete opposite, a 180 of the
yeah. But I did not like this one.
It was too much thinking back and trying to understand what's happening. That caused me to just.
I mean, we might be dumb, but all I know is I didn't like it.
Yeah. It's I think it's sitting pretty high on this.
It got a 7.21 rating.
People really like this one.
Oh, I lied. It didn't get a 7.21.
7.47.
Yeah.
That's even higher. Yeah.
I mean, look, hey, if that's your genre, that's what you watch. By all means, definitely not for my podcast, the Team of Mine.
Nope.
I don't know.
All right.
That was.
Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Next.
All right. Next. This one did get a 7.21 rating, which is very surprising. Dr. Elise, the Royal Lady with the Lamp.
Oh my God.
The only things I have to say about this is don't waste your time. Don't watch this.
It was so confusing.
That's just
this was the same thing. It was a double blind.
They make you
pulled
watch
the rug
whole
right
thing.
out.
At the end, I was just mad. Like, and because this is the thing, we're watching so many anime, and it's like, wow, I really wasted my time. John wants us to do this to tell the people so they don't waste their time either, and we have to take the brunt of it. I was like, oh my God.
I was the exact same thing. I was like, when she's like, first of all, I was like, are they really about to isekai a whole plane? I was like, is this about to be every single person on that plane is referenced to being born and getting isekai'd, and then we're gonna follow her? I was like, what? And then it cuts into the only credit I'll give it is it had a very like premium, what's the word, like cinematography that it was done of like giving you this like now to a flashback and then till back to now setup. But the story really pissed me off because I was like, at first I was like, oh, so I guess it's going to just take place here because they spent 20 minutes talking about like all of her life and like how this is her second chance at life. And she was an orphan and she became a doctor because she wanted to help people. And then it was like, she helps out everyone. Before she even gets on the plane, they set up a whole reference of like, thank God you're coming to Germany. You're the only one who can save this patient. Yeah. Flash forward to the plane going down, the plane crashes, and then you're like, oh, she's still alive. Helps everyone on the plane. And
that's still alive.
At no point does any of the people she helped or that kid or even her notice that she is bleeding out.
She's stabbed in the stomach for one. And she was able to help out a lot of people. I'm like, if you stabbed in the stomach, like, come on.
Which I question if she actually did save the gentleman, because as far as I know, you shouldn't remove anything that's pierced your body all the way through, and miraculously saves him.
I think she might have been a little bit delusional from the blood loss and thought she was helping.
Yes,
I don't know
the fact that she did that, but in my head I was like, wow. Whatever God is like bringing her to that world really, really screwed over that guy in Germany, because his only hope for success is dead. But then, yeah, the fact that it was a double blind pool and then it was like, got you. It's actually a second chance at life anime.
From the first life they had.
Exactly. Because she's starting over again. The whole isekai thing doesn't matter except to set up this idea that I'm guessing will play out that she has knowledge of being a doctor.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It made me upset watching it because it was just like I trying to understand it and then just feeling like it's a waste
Yeah.
of time for me.
I don't want to waste any more breath on it.
Enough said. All right. Next on the list is Sangoku Yoko. This was done by the studio White Fox Studios, Steins Gate, Akame Ga Kill, Goblin Slayer. So notable titles. It got a 6.97 rating, and quite honestly, I'm surprised it didn't do a little better. This kind of
I'm not.
it felt a little reminiscent of Inuyasha. Just like
I
not a lot.
had that
but-
same thought, but I was like, but this is not Inuyasha.
Exactly.
I'm trying to remember what this one was.
It's the fox spirit with
Oh, and the other guy and the samurai they fight.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, it does feel Inuyasha.
It feels like it,
I
but
love Inuyasha.
yeah, but it wasn't. And
Was not.
I don't really know what they were going for. I didn't like it. I think it should have gotten a
I
little run. It
think
was just real
what I
boring.
did enjoy about watching it is there's a few scenes in the beginning where the swordsman first sees the spirit fox
Mhm.
and the other guy, and there's like subtle animation details that happened, and I'm like, oh, this is actually well done. The story probably isn't great. I will admit that, and the
No.
characters might feel one dimensional again. But I think personally for me, it's worth a watch. I would revisit it.
If all you care about the art is the art, then I guess watch it.
That's not all I care about. I was a little engaged in the story,
Yeah.
but it's not.
Art.
It's not great.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about it.
I don't
All right.
like it.
Well then, moving on. Apparently, I'm the minority here.
What are you talking about? You and Sai have agreed
just
on more
kidding.
this
I'm
episode
just
than me.
kidding.
Usually it's John and I agreeing
Yeah.
and arguing with you, but this has been everyone's been against John, so
All right, this next one we talked about a little bit, and finally we get to Cherry Magic. The 30 years of virginity can make you a wizard. This is Sate Light Studio. They did Rokudo's Bad Girls. If you remember, we watched that.
Wow,
and,
the animation
that
budget
episode.
went way up.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But and also Hellsing. I've never watched any of the Hellsing shows. Yeah. They,
Okay.
You know, Hellsing, I believe multiple studios worked on it, but
Mhm.
this is one of them that
Okay.
produced it. This got a 7.66 rating, and it's another
Not surprised.
romance. John, I know you had something you wanted to say about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought that the romance story and just the interaction between the two characters was way more interesting and enticing than what was it? Sign of Affection.
I agree with that. I
Yeah.
agree. Their connection is-
I really thought this was well written and well thought out, and it definitely made me laugh at points when he's like when he accidentally touches his coworker's like finger or anything, and it, like here's his inner thought of like him realizing that he likes him and that he's in love with him and everything. And it was kind of sad too at the end where he's just like the guy obviously has never been in any romantic engagement with either man or woman, and which I was kind of like a little bit, that was the only thing I was a little confused about, because it wasn't like there wasn't any specific reason to be like why people didn't like him other than like that lady at the convenience store, which was like, ill, he's gross, I guess, because he doesn't really
Oh yeah, he
much-
touched my finger. or
yeah,
something
he's like he
that.
doesn't really put much effort into how he looks or something.
He has bedhead. That's the one thing that the guy he that likes him is like, oh, he has this bedhead.
would out of all that, what would cause him not to have anybody in 30 years like him or anything? But
Hey, have you
Besides,
watched
I
a
thought-
40-year-old virgin?
but I think I thought it was definitely interesting. It felt like to me what I thought My Goofy Boss was going to be.
Gonna be. I
Oh,
agree.
wasn't?
It's really
But I thought it was really good. I thought it was like a interesting drama. Like the whole idea. I don't know if you guys remember it or even know it, but it reminded me of like there's some Mel Gibson movie where he gets the ability to hear what women think and want.
Never.
I
heard
was
of
like, oh, this is kind of like it. I don't remember what it's called. But I was like, this is interesting. I don't know the whole idea of like being a wizard and only getting that ability. But I was like, yeah, this is interesting. I like the dynamic. I like that he's kind of like trying to figure out, like, because again, he's never been in love or any romance. And the end was really sad where he's like, I don't even know if I can really reciprocate his feelings. And like this guy who's like who's his coworker who likes him is like getting to like finally live out like all the things that he's wanted. He's like, oh, we're having dinner together. Like I get to spend more time with him, like all these things. And it's like sad because he's like, oh, like I feel he's like, this is really terrible of me to be like making him think like, even though he's clear, the coworker
He feels
clearly,
guilty. It's like he
feels guilty, even though the coworkers, it doesn't have any.
Well, I could pay for this.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any, what's the word? He doesn't like have any intentions of like thinking like, if I do this and this, he's gonna like fall in love with me. He's just like enjoying the idea, which I'm assuming himself, he's not out of the closet or anything, because like he's under the assumption that he's straight and that like he's probably dating like a beautiful woman. And I just thought it was like a really interesting story and like really has a lot of potential to be a cool story and a better romance than Sign of Affection.
I think they did a good job, a better job than Sign of Affection about building that up.
Yes.
The only thing I would change about this, 'cause I did like it and I enjoyed it. The only thing I would change is like they could have dealt with not having the reading of the mind type thing. And I understand that gives like a different perspective of what's happening because he just doesn't know, and that's the way that he being told. But
I think the reading of the mind is necessary, but I think the way it was executed would have been better. Like to me, it would have made sense of get rid of it as that because he's been a virgin for 30 years. That's what gave him the ability. Do it as from birth. He's had this ability, and that's what's hearing everybody's thoughts as what
maybe that's why no one likes him.
Has put him off because he like says something wrong or he like does this, and it's made him retreat more and more into himself, leading to this where he's like he starts listening to people getting and realizes, oh, like he likes me and all these things, and like starting to like make him change and think. Like that would have been more interesting. I think that's kind of what hurts it a little bit is like how this implementation is, but I think it's interesting.
I would really want to know what Chris says
about
this.
Everything that I would have said. I think it's interesting. I enjoyed this watching it, but you basically said everything I would have said. So
wow, we all agree.
Wow.
The three of us all agree.
You know, Chris.
This is a rare moment. This is a rare moment that we all agreed on something we liked.
Yeah, I think it was really well done.
Yeah.
All right, moving
Watch
on.
it, check it out. Let us know.
We have Brave Bang Bravern.
I think we said all we could say about that.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, if you're into mechs, this is a show for you.
No.
There's
go watch Eureka 7.
I mean,
watch
if there are people who are into mechs, they probably already watched all of that.
Gundam Witch. No.
All right, we're moving. For Team Umai, Brave Bang Bravern is not it.
Yeah.
Okay, now next we have Metalic Rouge.
Rouge.
Yeah, that's what
I thought it was Rogue too.
It's Rouge because when I read it, I read Rouge, but I wasn't sure if it was Rogue, and then I realized that's not how you spell Rogue, so it's Rouge. I'm an idiot. This is one of my honorable mentions. This was done by Studio Bones, so they did My Hero Academia, Full Metal Alchemist, Mob Psycho, Soul Eater, Bungo Stray Dogs, and many more.
That's why it looks so good.
Yeah.
That's why it looks so good.
Looked phenomenal.
Yeah. Those are all really good design series.
Sure. They had a really good... I thought the story was interesting, but it's not a standout show.
It's lacking in the story because I don't seem to fully grasp what is going on. I can see the prejudice against like the cybernetic people.
I don't know if they're cybernetics. I think they're aliens.
No, they're androids.
Yeah,
really? Because they said something about them coming.
They need.
They
Eh,
said,
Maybe
I
delivery.
don't think anyone really knows because they said something about like, oh yeah, they came from like space or something. Those two guys in the bar talking about.
androids. Whether they are from space,
Okay.
but they are androids.
Okay.
Because that's what it says in the synopsis. In a world where humans and androids coexist.
Yeah.
There you go.
But so this shows Rogue. She's an android girl who is on a mission on Mars with her partner, the bird, or her human counterpart, Naomi.
Yeah.
And the mission is to murder 9 artificial humans who are hostile to the government. That's essentially the story.
Yeah. It was great animation design, cool action. The CGI, I think I would get really tired of. Like for the fighting of it, that kind of took away for it. But as cool as an idea as it is, I think just like kind of you guys said, it gets lost for me in that I don't know like really what's going on. There wasn't anything that like really, it feels like somebody took Blade Runner and was just like, let's do more with it. Even though it's already an anime, there's a Blade Runner anime that was on Toonami and Adult Swim, but it's cool. It's really cool, and I love the character designs when they're not in their like robotic form.
Right.
And their scene was cool when like she injects herself at night and she's talking to the bird,
Mm-hmm.
and like the whole like glow happens.
Yeah.
Really cool, really beautiful. But
like really cool elements, but it's just the story doesn't feel strong.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth a watch, I would say. Studio Bones is great.
I'll probably give it to like episode 3, but I really just don't know how I feel about it. Because other than that, it was kind of slow, which it's kind of like if you've ever watched Blade Runner, the movie, there's like a lot of lore you kind of have to dig in for and kind of like come up with yourself. And this kind of just like does the same thing, which I don't necessarily want. I want more of a direction.
Yeah.
But again, just like a lot of other series, it gave me very 90s, early 2000s anime vibes, which I really liked and felt nostalgic, but I don't know if that'll make me want to watch it till the end.
Yeah, the story is what got me not to really enjoy it as much. Visually, it was good, but like the fact that I'm not understanding what's happening and why, that's what ruins it for me.
But I will say the only thing I'll give for it, for being a Crunchyroll original series, it's probably going to be the best Crunchyroll original series that they put out. Because a lot of the other ones just fall flat in the story. But we'll see.
All right. Moving on from that, we have, I already said this is my least favorite ever, and it's also the lowest rating out of the ones we watched with a 5.24 Delusional monthly magazine. I don't even know what the story's about. It's just
honestly,
about
this was probably the worst.
Some artifacts they found, and then it could transform them.
When he turned into a furry at the end,
that's literally.
I was like, I will not be watching any other minute of this show. I was just like, and it wasn't even like he didn't turn into like a beast person. He turned into a furry with purple hair, and I was just like, nope, this was no. Don't watch it.
Yeah, so we're just gonna move right on.
Mm-hmm.
We have the weakest Tamer began a journey to pick up trash. This was done by Studio Masket, which did the music video for "Let Me Down," which is a Cyberpunk Edge Runners song.
Cool.
But other like I wrote in my notes, honestly,
I really like the animation for it.
I don't have any recollection of this show. I know I watched it. I just don't remember it.
I just remember in the beginning, her walking through the woods, grabbing a backpack she stuffed in a tree or something.
So I'll give you a quick synopsis rundown because I watched this one first today. Pretty much, you're in the middle of the night. This person's calling for these guards and everything to start searching for this girl, and a no star, as she's referred to, and that they have to find her, and they allude to killing her. And then we get introduced to the girl, which I forget her name, but she's essentially on the run, trying to leave, and It's kind of a it's either a second chance at life or an isekai, but they don't allude to either or in the first episode. I should probably wait for Chris to come back so he can try and recall this. He didn't say what he was doing. Otherwise, I'm
not sure.
Yeah. I'll give him a second. Well,
Chris, where did you go? Where did you go?
Sorry, gentlemen, I had to use the bathroom so bad.
Are you kidding me?
We are both holding it. You could have just told us, and we all could have took a bathroom break.
You were in the middle of talking, so I just went.
Yeah, I was giving you a synopsis because you said I can't remember this. I was saying it literally for you to remember and have an input on it, Chris.
Well, I don't have an input because I probably didn't. I don't remember it because it wasn't memorable. I didn't like it.
You don't remember it. How can you not like it?
Wow, we could have all went to the bathroom, but whatever. To start over, this one is pretty much about we're introduced to the beginning of this older gentleman with a torch at night telling a bunch of guards to go find the girl, find this no star who has been in turn escaped from a village or a kingdom or something. And then we flash forward to the next day, and it's this girl who is pretty much running away from something. For some reason, we're slowly get introduced to that. She's it's either an isekai, it's her second chance at life, but they kind of allude to it. All she knows is that she has these fluttering memories of a past life that's kind of helping her out, kind of talking to her like a second person, but they're just memories. But she's been born into this world with no stars, which is like your magical aptitude. She's been given a skill, which is a tamer, but she's pretty much a 0-star tamer. So she doesn't really have the affinity to really tame any monsters or anything, and talks about how like her parents were 2 stars and given good skills. But she's essentially deemed worthless, and leads to what we think is that the, I guess, village leader is going to kill her because she's a no star, and I guess doesn't want to muddy the village bloodline or anything. But so we see that she like is picking up scraps and everything to kind of like help her because she has nothing. She was given a magical infinite pack and like a book from this witch in the city who like took a liking to her and told her all these things of like how to escape, disguise yourself as a boy, give yourself a new name, Ivy, and in turn set forth on an adventure. She comes across this little, I think it's a slime, but it doesn't really have a name in her animal
water droplet thing.
Yeah, compendium of like beasts, and she other than it's like they're really weak, they could get popped by literally the air. And she's like telling her like life to this little water drop, and then literally goes the whole night and pretty much doesn't like taking care of it, and thinks it dies overnight, but wakes up to find out that it's been tucked away in her bag safe and sound. And so she manages to tame it, and that's kind of where our story leads off and where it's going to go from there. But I thought the animation was really pretty. I thought it was really pretty.
Especially in that field at the end that they were in.
I thought it was some of the best animation out of all of these. Really pretty looking.
Story-wise, not something that I really
You remember it, Chris?
I still don't remember it.
He probably checked it off and then fell asleep watching it and then just forgot about it.
No, a lot of these I didn't watch at night. Like I made sure to watch it when I'm like awake.
When you were at work.
Let's see. It got a 7.23. It beat out Metalic Rogue. And
Rouge.
It beat Metalic Rouge. It also beat out Ishura. Time for Torture Princess. It's pretty high up there. Yeah. That's all I'll say. I thought it was cool.
I only like the animation.
I can't really give a comment on this one. I just don't remember it.
All right. Well, moving on.
All right, final 3. Next on the list we have The Witch and the Beast. Now, this was done by Yoko Yokohama Animation Lab, which also did Kingdoms of Ruin.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I didn't know that until you said it, and I literally had a thought, and I have it in my recording. I was like, this is giving me vibes of Kingdom of Ruin, but except the witches are liked in this one. And I was like,
I was thinking that too.
But I was like, but I've been burned before, even though it seems really cool. The animation's really cool. The characters seem really cool. I was like, I'm going to be hesitant about this. I've been burned before, but that is hilarious that it's the same studio.
Mm-hmm. I definitely had that same thought because it is about witches. And I mean, the story is completely different, but there's some similarities. I thought the show was pretty good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I like the animation style. I like the main characters. The plot's interesting. Definitely worth a watch.
It was a little obvious, the plot. As I was watching it, I was like, clearly this witch isn't to be trusted. All these things.
Oh, of course. But
when they got introduced, that whole thing, it's the anniversary party. I was like, they're all dying. They're all gonna die. I was like, how do you not know you're all gonna die? But it was still good. But I think what was more interesting is when you're introduced, because I thought that little girl was a vampire at the beginning, but I have no idea what she is.
We don't know.
No,
we'll just have to watch more to find out.
No.
But yeah, essentially, there's these two individuals who are tasked with, I guess,
they're
rid
from
of
a magic. Yeah, they're from a magic order to uphold magic.
Yeah,
and in turn, they're on the hunt for
people who
pretty
abuse
much rogue.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised that. I was quite shocked when the assistant wakes up and their hands and feet from everybody are gone.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand that. I was like, I get they're needed for the ritual, but then they all have them back at the end. I was like,
that was weird.
Either
it was happy ending, I guess, but
unless they've just forgot, I don't they just didn't animate it. Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
but the whole thing too, I thought the guy who was walking out the coffin was a vampire or something. All the bats, but then he's like, "Oh, I'm just a mage. They don't need my help." In the last
crows.
Yeah,
were they crows? Oh, I thought they were bats.
Crows. They were crows. But yeah, he's a mage. But I'm also there's more to be explained, especially too, because he's a mage. But does that mean that he only has a certain amount of magic? What's the full difference between a witch and that?
He's
this
definitely
world?
Lower level, he said.
Yeah, he did say that.
But I know it's interesting. I did like it.
Yep. Let's keep the ball rolling here because the next one is Meji Gecken 1874, which we did talk about already. It's a historical piece, 6.52 rating.
Historical influence, I would say.
Yeah, historical influence. It's not 100% based in reality, but it definitely has good and clean animation. Who do like historical influenced anime, but it's not for me.
No. Surprisingly, the Strongest Tanks Labyrinth raids got a higher score than this.
No way.
Yeah.
That is very surprising.
Yeah. But
really
I found this one to be just as boring. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very slow for me. Violent.
No. I don't have anything really good or bad to say other than it was just boring.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And so last but not least, we saved the best for last.
What did I say? What did I say?
Okay.
This is gonna just go all in.
He
all
picks
in on
up
this
his
side.
microphone and he stands up and says, "Come with me on this journey."
We might as well mute ourselves.
So the last one on the list that will wrap us up is Bucchigiri. This was done by Mappa. Need I say more? It got a 7.57 rating, and it was my personal favorite. I'll just say that. It definitely, as you said, a lot of these shows have styles or influence from late 90s, early 2000s anime, and this one nailed it with the late 90s anime, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a martial arts one. I forget what it's called. Maybe I'll try and find the poster for it and throw it here. But it's one where it's a high school kid and he meets like that blonde girl, and she ends up being the granddaughter of like this martial arts master, and like there's a whole bunch of other martial arts masters in the household, and they end up training him. And it felt very reminiscent because they both have kind of the same styling of it.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like an old action beat 'em up 90s 2000s anime,
right.
But I really did like it. It was fun.
Yeah, I mean this show, it's on the animation front, it's very intriguing, vibrant colors. I feel like all throughout, just colors popped. The design, characters, and personality, they all do well. You know, I feel like it's a crowd pleaser, this anime.
Yeah. It's a Chris pleaser.
Yeah, for sure. I'm typically not a fan of, you know, brawl beat 'em up anime, but
yeah, there's not a single sword in this anime, and you like it.
I definitely gave this a shot, and I was very pleased with it.
No, I thought I was gonna be annoyed by like the love interest girl, because I was like, oh, is she like that trope of like, because she's in the delinquent school where she goes around and picks like the new guy every time to like like fall in love with her and like take him for all he has. But then the fact that she turned out to be the younger sister of one of the main gangs at the school, I thought that was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it. I mean, I thought it looked good. The story just...
You wouldn't like it, Sai.
I wouldn't, because all he wished for from the genie was to lose his virginity.
That's the only reason why you don't like it?
No, I said that's the only reason why he's fighting and has the genie. That's the goal. It's kind of like, you know, talk about Chainsaw Man, you know, what's Genji's ultimate goal?
You know, what? It's Denji, number one. But I think, you know, at that point where the genie and him do merge, and, you know, the genie's like, say it! Say what your real wish is! And you think he's going to say something else.
The same wish, yeah.
But he said the same, like, it's just...
The same exact...
It's just...
What Chris is trying to explain here is this is peak literary writing. You know,
it really is.
No one else encapsulates the way like the story could unfold, and like the word choice and just overall thought process of it is almost of Shakespearean descent.
It's satirical.
So it's like a +10 for Chris.
No.
Oh,
well, I'm
like a 4 for me.
I'm guessing to jump the gun on it. I'm guessing that this is one of your two, Chris.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is the only one that I was like, okay, I think Chris will like this one, and it's pretty high up there. It didn't beat Cherry Magic. Just want to say that,
but it is high up there, and it's done by Mappa. You know, you got to give those guys credit.
Yeah,
like
it did get beat out by Gushing over Magical Girls.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, we were surprised about that.
No.
So yeah, that's all of the first episodes we watched of the 2024 winter season. We all have each picked out our 2 favorites, and then we're gonna, I guess, discuss what other 2 to drop to make it a 8.
Yep.
Lineup for us to watch.
Pick up from the community.
Yeah,
because we got our 6.
Oh yeah, we're gonna
the community too. But I guess Chris, you want to continue? We know what your one is. We know
my number 1 is Bucchigiri. My number 2 is The Witch and the Beast.
Okay, I could see that. I could see that. I kind of felt like you might have said the Unwanted Undead Adventure. I feel like
my third was Sangoku Yoko. So,
I can see that.
Really?
Wasn't Fluffy Paradise, of course.
Yeah. And then my fourth was
Ishura.
So
okay.
Yeah.
I can
whoever's next. For a loop here. Damn.
I can go through the 2 that I enjoyed that I want to continue watching.
Okay.
My top 2, Licious in Dungeon. I just like food. I don't know, food animes. They get me for that. What's the other one? It's the one that we were talking about, the other love one that no one liked.
Oh, Signs of Affection.
Yeah, Signs of Affection is going to be my second.
So Delicious in a Dungeon and Sign of Affection.
Yeah, that's the two. All right.
It's decided. What
Ooh.
are we going to continue with? Are we going to make
Ooh.
Chris watch some things he dislikes?
Let's see. I've had, like I said at the beginning, these are all kind of like the same sphere, same level. Some popped out, some I really liked. There's like 4 in my mind that I'm like, yeah, I'd watch these. I like these. We could totally watch them and see. But if I really have to see if like what do I want to see go more that I really liked, I'm gonna have to say for my first one, it's gonna be Loop 7-time loop. I really like that one. I'm definitely curious to see where it goes. It was a tie up there, and the wrong way to use healing magic. I kind of was like those two. I kind of really like. But for my second, because I really want to know where it goes, I'm gonna say Ishura.
Really?
I really want to know where Ishura goes. Yeah.
All right. I'm fine with
It was a tie up. It was a tie up between that and Tales of the Wedding Ring. But I felt like I already picked one kind of romancy one. My top 5 would honestly be Ishura, that I like really want to watch. Ishura, Tales of the Wedding, 7th Time Loop, Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic, and probably like solo leveling that I really like want to watch.
I'm very surprised you didn't pick Soul Leveling, but I know what the community is going to pick, so I'm pretty sure that's going to be out of the next two.
That did kind of factor in, because it was like, obviously we're going to watch this one. I don't need to focus on this one because that's what the community wants to see. That's the number one right now.
What's the second community that we didn't choose already? You think?
Well, the second one is
that's going to be on the anime. I'm not watching.
No, it's not. It's not. That's not the second one.
Oh, really?
No, if we're looking at new ones, see how Chris kind of just threw that one in there when it's not even really it.
Misinformation.
Interesting.
You said it's number 3, and then the 2 above it are returning shows. That's what I remember.
You did say that.
Did I say it was number 3?
You did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you said
number 13.
Oh, we heard 3. I think that's what
No.
That's okay. It's fine.
But the next one up would be Cherry Magic, followed by Sasaki and Peeps. Yeah, so
I would rather
Cherry Magic would be the next one.
Wait, what's the full title of Cherry Magic? What is it?
Being a
Cherry Magic
to magician.
Yeah,
okay.
I think Cherry Magic.
Then I would rather watch that.
Yeah.
So it goes Cherry Magic, Sasaki and Peeps, The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic, and Gushing Over Magical Girls. Those are sandwiched in between Delicious Dungeon and Bucchigiri. But you know what? We're going to stick to the community, because we said that last time, and we jumped around and we got burned on it when we didn't stick to the community.
All right, so to list our 8 that we're going to be watching.
The
8 winter must-watch for Anumai Timumai.
It will be Delicious in Dungeon, A Sign of Affection, The Witch and the Beast, Bucchigiri, 7th Time Loop, Ishura, Solo Leveling, and Cherry Magic.
Nice.
I'm actually happy with this lineup.
I am too.
I feel like for the first time ever, so is Chris.
Yeah, I'm very.
He's not biting his tongue, going, "I can't believe you just made me watch this."
I almost what was the one just because I feel like High Dive gets a bad rap on like
I've watched one anime from High Dive that I've only that's Oshinoko. Everything else has just been like, oh my god.
I was sorry. The other one in there, I almost picked Chain Soldier just because I read it. I enjoyed reading it. And I was like, that's That's an
Basically,
okay.
choices off
That's
of
the
anime, not
that's
off
the
of
most
manga.
most tame one on High Dive, but I feel like it's gotten a bad rap. But yeah, but that'll be one that I watch on the side anyway. But yeah, that's pretty interesting.
If thank you for if you reached all the way to the 2 hour and 30-minute mark right now for this
Yeah.
entirety.
I think this is too.
Twitch.
Yeah, I don't think anyone popped up in our Twitch. Surprisingly,
That's okay. It shows up on
Yeah.
our analytics that we streamed at least.
yeah.
Especially since you streamed, 10 hours. So there we go. We're getting more
Yeah.
on there.
But
Better.
no, yeah, I think it's gonna be a good watch. We just gotta watch it all. Chris also still has to finish what's it called? Undead Unluck, so I can get my apology.
He was waiting
but-
to just slide that into the podcast.
But I think this will be a good one. We've got a good amount of high, community favorites. We also got one that's below. I think if you're below the seventh, a score of 7, it's definitely interesting lineup. Like those are the ones where it's like, what's going on here that like people aren't picking this.
Yeah.
So
should we try to watch some of these at Gamers Heaven if the theater's open?
I think the
We're gonna
theater's
stick to-
open.
we could.
Because it's been
Yeah.
closed for a long time.
I think it's still
Yeah.
closed.
Well, we'll find
Yeah.
out because I feel like I missed that. We have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Spend the day.
It was fun. It's also just been like terrible
Chaos.
snow. And,
Chaos, the holiday and everything
Yeah.
else. So
But I don't know. I've liked
Yeah.
using Chris's living room. I think that's been like very personal, cozy.
Except for his TV and his living room 720p.
I know. yeah,
we don't need to get into that.
But
Alright.
Not
any
the main
last
TV.
thoughts? Any last interesting tidbits?
No, I just want to say
Piece of
thanks for
knowledge.
watching. If you agree or disagree with us, leave a comment. Tell us what your
Yeah.
picks are for this season.
Give us the comments. That's what I really want. I want comments. I want things to go back and forth with the community. The only thing I'll say is, the Crunchyroll Anime Awards voting is out. You can vote
That's
daily. Our close personal friend,
Yeah,
our
right.
acquaintance that we met, who was one of the nicest people I think we've ever met and probably will meet. Lexi Naito, the voice actress for Tomo-chan and Tomo-chan as a Girl, is nominated for Best Voice Actor and definitely will be getting all of our votes. Everyone else should definitely check out the
Go vote.
series and vote. Yeah. I'm going to try, and if it's not already out at the same time this goes up, you might get a 2-for-1 on the day this comes out of our glorious interview with her, which she was just such a pleasure to work with and such a great time. I know it was very last minute. Some of us didn't want to do the interview and we're like, I don't want to do this. This is too last minute.
I
but
was so nervous. So nervous. Okay. This was extremely last minute.
But we
when
did it.
were-
And I think
Yeah.
we all very much enjoyed it and had a very
so
good
nice.
experience.
Made it so she was just like, relax,
I know.
please relax. Just
She still has the Charmander I gave her.
Oh,
we can email, see if they want to be on the podcast. We'll
We
talk about the
could.
anime awards.
We'll get this out. We'll tag her in it. We'll see if she has anything to say. And then you can ask her. But yeah, I'm sure we'll run into her again at some convention or
I want to get a signed manga from her because last time we went, you got the last one, John. and
I
was just
know.
like, oh, I don't
got
get
the last
anything.
one. She was so nice. You should have gotten a signed poster, like one of the stills.
Yeah, I should have. But the manga is really what I wanted. And I was really disheartened after that point. I was like, man, I'm really
Yeah. Well, what you should do then is buy your own
buy
manga
it,
chap
and then I'll
and then
bring it.
take it. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely go vote for her. Go put in your votes. I need to do my daily one today. We should all do our daily, which I don't know if it counts if you're all using my account, but
I don't remember.
I think you
We'll
can
find
do it
out.
without logging in. I think you
Yeah.
can just go and vote or something. But yeah, anything else, Sai, Chris?
Nope.
That is it.
Thanks for watching.
All right. Umai.
Oh my.
Bye.